what do I wish I knew like just a week ago? And so I'm having that conversation now, and then I'm essentially just teaching myself a week ago. And because I'm teaching myself a week ago, there's other people who are in similar circumstances that could also take value from that. And so that's how I think about these content. Like this episode today, it's like, what conversation would have helped me a week ago?
I love that, because like I'm kind of used to that now. Like in certain positions that I've worked in, or even like just in doing things for myself, like I always have like a lessons learned type of folder, right? And I think it's like really good to review that stuff like periodically, whether it's daily, weekly, whatever it is, because that like preps you for moving forward. Because there's no issue in making mistakes. Actually, mistakes could be very, very helpful, right? But the issue is when you're repeating those mistakes, and that's where the lessons learned come into play. If you actually are someone who's going to be practical enough to say, hey, like, this is the conversation I would have had with myself a week ago. But a lot of people don't even take the time to do that, and then they just get into a cycle of just doing things, and then they're agitated and they're frustrated because it feels like nothing's really working for them. They don't even see the point of that current routine that they have, right? Whereas if you're someone who is constantly saying, you know what, how can I improve? What lessons can I take from these mistakes that I made? Or maybe I didn't make a mistake. Maybe I'm learning from my wins. Maybe I had a great week. What did I do that really worked in my favor? And then you can apply that moving forward. And so even when you're doing things on a daily basis that may seem dry and monotonous and routine and boring, like, you can look forward to the next day because you can see the results that are coming from the actions that you took yesterday, if I'm making sense, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's very key in order to stay disciplined. Because a lot of times when we get into these things of, oh, dude, I got to change the sub, I got to do this, it's because we're motivated at that specific moment. But we all know motivation does not stay forever. So when motivation falls, we need to increase discipline or hold discipline. And so in those instances, let me backtrack real quick. Before I even get onto the discipline part, like in the weeks where I did not review what I learned and tried to teach myself a week later, I did not feel purposeful. I did not feel that I had a productive week because there was nothing that I was kind of holding myself or measuring myself towards.
Gotcha.
So it's very important for me to reflect. Here's what worked. Here's my wins. Hey, Romi, you got to recognize those wins real quick. And now that you recognize those wins, I actually look forward to starting the next day.
Yeah. So
that's where motivation is dropping, but discipline, that oh man, I'm getting all these wins. That's where I could tap into my discipline of regularly reviewing those wins, which will also help me stay disciplined to keeping those actions that are giving me those wins.
Yeah, I agree. And in those wins, obviously, like you said, you got to recognize them, you got to celebrate them. And I think that sometimes if you're staying in the same spot, those wins, they become normal, right? And so once it becomes normal, you might, again, lose motivation or discipline. So I think one of the things that someone has to do is always kind of up the ante. Like, if I did this well last week, not saying that I have to change up my process, but like, if I was able to achieve this, like, let's just say you gave yourself a quota, I was able to achieve this, like, how much more can I get done this week? And how much more, the following? And I think like continuously like pushing yourself forward, it gives you something to look forward to. You get excited again because you're always keeping it fresh and you're always beating that last version of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I agree with that, but I also would say be kind of apprehensive towards just getting addicted to the wins. Because like if I'm only addicted to the wins, I won't actually appreciate what I have. So for example, in the dance industry, I've had people coming to the events where like, all right, 300 people, 350, 400, that became the normal for me and my peers. And so when someone who's excited, like, aren't you excited about the last one that you're hosting this year? And we're like, business as usual. Well, we just fucked up that person's excitement who attends our event. Yeah. And we forgot that even though it's normal for us to have 300, 400 people to our events, we're still positively impacting 300 to 400 people. That is a significant win. And so it's not necessarily like, oh, I got to hit 500, I got to hit 600. That's awesome to have something to look forward to, but also we need to remember a win is a win.
Yeah.
A win is a win, and there's other people who would wish they had your win. So 300, 400 people, that may be the norm, but hey, I get to actually impact 300 to 400 people every week.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you. And see that's a good perspective. Like when I was saying what I was saying before, it was more so like not just becoming what's that word? Complacent.
Yes.
Complacent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes like when you become complacent, to me that can be a sign of you actually taking those wins for granted, really, right? Because you just expect it to just be there, and sometimes you're just like, I could just keep doing the exact same thing. But eventually you need to also evolve. So even if you're bringing out those 300 to 400 people, and let's just say you're not like saying, all right, now how can I bring out 500 and 600 people? Well, maybe your mind might go to the spot of, well, how can I enhance this experience for these 300 to 400 people? Maybe there's a way that I can improve this. Because I think that that's like one of the things that drives not even just businesses, but just people in general forward and makes you excited to see the next day. It's kind of like dating, right? Or being married or anything like that. Like once you've gotten used to a person, not saying that you don't love them anymore, it just means that you kind of got used to them. And one of the ways in which you can have a heart of gratefulness and be appreciative is kind of collaborating on like, how can we keep things fresh? Like what's the new things we can do? Like what else can we take on and do together, or whatever it is, to kind of make sure that we're just always having something to look forward to. And I think that in the same respect with the 300, 400 people, even if you're not increasing the number, just how else can I improve this process, Yeah,
and that in the business world, that's the retention aspect, right? Mm-hmm. That is the customer customer success aspect of, hey, we got you, now we want to make sure we keep our relationship going and we're both happy, right? And I feel that if I'm only relying on motivation, like, awesome, 300 people came in, and then next week like 300 people came in and I'm not as motivated, that's going to lower the quality of my relationship with the people who showed up.
Yeah.
So in a dating aspect, it's like, okay, I got the first date, it was amazing. And then the second date, as soon as I started getting complacent, I just bombed that second date. Will you want that third date with me? Right. As an event, will they want to come back? And if I'm complacent and I'm just like, first date was great, I don't need to work hard for the second, third date or fourth date, eventually they're going to be like, what are we doing here? So you're not really interesting anymore. You're not really a high value event anymore, or high value person.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I love that the value, that word value, because that's really what it's all about. Like, because it really is a transaction that's going on, right? Like, yes, I'm coming to your event, but I'm receiving something in exchange for me paying this money to you. And value it's really based on perception, right? It's based on perception, and so I need for you to continue to perceive that I am worth it. And that's where, like you said, the discipline comes into play. And I guarantee somebody that, like, if they're learning and they're striving to get to new levels, new heights, that in and of itself is going to continue to add value. You may not even see it in your day-to-day grind. Like, you might just be going through the grind and you're like, all right, well, I'm just going through it. But like, people who are observing you, they notice when you continue to develop yourself. It comes out in just how you perform. Maybe you're being more efficient, whatever the case is. And all of that stuff, it's adding value even without you even realizing that you're adding value. Hey, what's going on, everyone? We want to continue to bring you this great content. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and click that notification bell so you stay up to date on the latest content. Let's get back to the episode.
So why are we talking about discipline?
Well, you mentioned it earlier, right? Motivation is eventually going to die. And so the only way for you to keep going and for you to live a purpose-filled life is for you to have discipline. In the moment, the discipline, it may not necessarily feel good, right? Because there's a difference. Let me just backtrack. There's a difference between how you feel and what's real, right? And a lot of times we are going based on just our emotions. But if you go based on your emotions are temporary. They change like the seasons. Nevertheless, if you change with every emotion that you experience, what's going to happen is you're going to lose course, and you may not ever get to that end goal that you were looking to get to. That's where that discipline comes into play. It's something that will continue to steer you, right? Even when you don't have it within you to be steered, even when you don't feel like this is what's good for me. Because eventually what happens is hindsight is 20/20. You're going to look back and you're either going to be happy with how you performed or not. You're going to end up having those lessons learned that we were talking about, and you're going to be like, oh man, I should have did this different, and I should have done this different. And a lot of times what I've found in the lessons learned portion of like, you know, when you're reflecting, a lot of times it's like, man, if I had only pushed myself to do this, if I had only pushed, and that comes back to the discipline aspect. And so rather than your lessons learned being filled with, oh man, I should have had the discipline, it should really be filled with other things. And so that's the reason why we're talking about discipline. It's because that's what's going to get you through to success, even when you don't feel like going the extra mile. Do you happen to have like any examples of when you needed discipline to carry you through to your end goal, even when you didn't feel like it?
So I have had those experiences where I did not feel like doing shit because I was like, I'm going to get 300 to 400 people anyway. So why do I have to work more? And in that instance, I had to remind myself, hey, I get to actually have 300 to 400 people come to my event. I have to remind myself the appreciation of what I got. And I had to also remind myself, what's the big picture goal here? Because if the big picture goal here is just having 300 or 400 people, then we're done. There's no reason for me to wake up in the morning. So once I remember, like, well, the goal is actually not to just help 400 people. The goal is actually to help everybody. The goal is to actually build a business that everyone can look forward to every other month, or whatever city you're in. They're like, hey, Dance Sunday, just pop in here. We got to go. So once I remind myself that goal, it's like, okay, I have to get up and I have to do these XYZ actions, these KPIs where there's a quota of activity. Not just like, hey, between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, you're going to be prospecting businesses. What does that mean? How many people are you reaching out to? How many emails am I reaching out to? And once I saw those numbers of what I got to achieve and what time I have to achieve them in, it became all right, I know my goal and I know what I got to do to achieve it. And even though I may not be motivated to do it, it's just like, okay, these are the things, just one action at a time helps me stay on discipline, I guess. And as I'm doing it, I actually get remotivated because I'm going through the check mark. All right, here's my tally. One person reached out to, 2 people reached out to. Eventually there's 10 people. Oh, damn, I'm on a roll. Yeah. Okay, let's go. 15 people. Oh, I only got 20 more minutes. How many can I hit in this time? And now I got remotivated because of my discipline. And now we're still growing the business.
Yeah, I think it's like anytime you see progress, it just reignites that motivation.
Absolutely.
It's the actually being able to see the progress. And like, I won't treat this as like a blanket statement because I know that this isn't true for every single situation, but just in that situation, it almost feels as though never reaching the end goal is the goal. That's like, and let me expound upon that a little bit because that could sound like a little weird. But it's like you said, if the goal, the big picture goal was to reach 300, 400 people, then you're done. No point of waking up in the morning. So therefore, the daily goal is to always see the need for improvement, always see the need for progress, to always see it as though I have not attained perfection. And so while there's still room for improvement, I must keep going. I think like that's like the real goal. It's really the journey. You know what I mean? And I think so many of us are looking for the championship, but the journey, like when I put it into sports perspective, whether it's watching the Super Bowl or watching the NBA Finals, I'm a basketball fan, so I'm going to say NBA Finals. What I've noticed is like, I'm more excited throughout the regular season and the playoffs, wanting to see whoever I'm going for get through, defeat people, and actually get to the win. But then once they finally win and they win the trophy and the player raises the MVP trophy, it's almost like I have this void. Like I need to be filled again. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess next season. And I'm waiting months until that starts. And then finally the journey to see who wins the championship actually it begins again. And so when I reflect on it, what I notice is that I'm really being gratified by the actual journey itself, as opposed to just seeing them get the championship. Because then I feel a void. Like once you reach the end, it's like, well, what's next? You know? And so I think that that's one thing that actually motivates me and keeps me disciplined, is just understanding that, you know, I don't need to say, hey, you know, by the age of 60, I need to be here and I can't wait till I'm there. I'm like, no, I want to enjoy every single waking moment. And I know that every single waking moment means that I'm constantly having to work towards something, you know?
I do. And I think that's, that touches on what I was talking with you earlier before we recorded. It's like live in excitement. And if you have a complacent life, you're really living a dull life because you're not looking forward to anything. You're not celebrating anything. Yeah. And so like, even though comfort is nice, if I'm not looking forward to getting up in the morning, then like it just doesn't feel good. I don't feel nice laying in bed. It's easy, it's comfortable. I'm able to just be on my phone and watch, I don't know, videos and TikTok, whatever. But I'm like, man, like what the heck did I just do? Nothing. And I don't feel fulfilled. So when I say live in excitement is find things that you're looking forward to do. Like I'm looking forward to eat because when I eat good food, I actually have good health. I look great. I look better than other people. Yeah. Right? Like find positive reinforcement. Oh, I got up. I made my bed. That right there is like, that sets me up for success. That's how I view it. Yeah. Or, hey, I watched some videos of people explaining their story of how they got a setback in their business and now this is how they're overcoming it. And these are things I look forward to. Like right now, whenever you and I talk, we're like, there's a chit chat moment, but that's not really what I look forward to. Like, all right, so what's up? What's up in the sense of what are we doing financially to improve? Mm-hmm. What are we doing lifestyle to improve and relationship with other people? You're always talking about your wife, what you guys are doing together to continue dating each other while you're married. And then we talk about me, like, hey, Romi, when you guys start, getting a wife, yada, yada. And it's like, even though those are repetitive things that, because it could be comfortable, like, hey, we don't have to talk about Romi being single, like, right? That's just comfortable. But when you bring those up, and then I bring them, and I engage with those conversations, it's like, oh yeah, man, I'm looking forward to having a kid. I'm looking forward to having a family, and this is also reminding me why I'm doing the certain things I'm doing, because like I want to be a competent partner. I want to be a high value man towards my wife. I want to be a high value dad towards my kids, high value son towards my mother, and so that just the action where I don't want to talk about me being single. Yeah. That's like a discipline of us having that conversation because we talk about it all the time. Not me being single, but we talk about relationships all the time. That lights up a fire of motivation towards changing. Yeah. It lights up a fire like, okay, I want to go to bed today so I could get up tomorrow and get to action. Right? So I think that's the biggest thing. It's like live in excitement so that when you're up late, you're like, damn, I got to go to bed because I need to get up. Yeah. You know?
I do. And I think like reflecting on what you were saying, it's like for a lot of us, comfort is really the enemy of our success. You know what I mean?
Because it's like wine, bro. It creeps up because you're like, all right, this is nice. And all of a sudden you're drunk. Yeah. Ooh, right? Like that. That's what wine is. It creeps up on you. You can't see it coming. It just hits you. And that's what comfort is. And every time I allowed myself to be comfortable and where I allowed discipline to fall, I actually got less freedom. I actually felt that I wasn't moving towards whatever I wanted. Yeah. Have you ever felt that way?
Oh, I have. Dude, and it's ironic because it's like we automatically associate comfort with freedom. Like that's what we think. Like comfort, freedom, done. But it's like, it's not really freedom because freedom is you being able to use all of you to fulfill your purpose. That's freedom. Like you being able to exercise your choice, your God-given choice to be able to get there. And it's like comfort. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when I'm feeling comfortable, I almost feel like it has a control over me that I don't even have the freedom. I'm like, you know what? Nah, comfort, you right. You win this one. I'm gonna just chill because you said so, and I agree with you. And it's like, obviously that's not really a conversation I'm having, but in a very real sense, it does hold me back from doing certain things that I want to do. It's like mentally, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta do this, and I want to do this, and I'm like, I can't even move, man. And so, and it really gets me when the dogs are cuddling with me. That's a side tangent, but it really gets me there because I'm all comfortable, they're comfortable, and I can't even move. And anyways, that's just a different side note. But In a very real sense, I feel like some of the most exciting times that I've had is actually when I didn't have very much. Like I was just in grind mode.
Well, you're in grind towards a goal, right?
Exactly.
So like let me switch it back, right? So when I got comfortable just paying $1,200 a month for my rent, and then by being comfortable at that amount, I didn't even look at the places that were $2,000. I essentially put myself in a cage financially, aspiration wise, because I was comfortable with paying just $1,200 a month.
Gotcha.
And I was like, well, I'm comfortable here. But as soon as I started like, hey, that's a nice house. So that's a nice luxury apartment with nice amenities.
Mm-hmm.
How much does that cost? Ooh, $2,200. All right, damn, what do I got to do to get that? Now I was like, oh, all right, it's going to be uncomfortable to do that work to get to it, do those interviews. But I'm like, man, it's funny because I feel a lot of us have skill sets and background in a lot of subjects that we could get hired for. But the aspect of just looking at what the applications look for, the interview process, the 4 rounds, whatever, before you actually get the offer letter, those are all uncomfortable stages to be in.
Yes.
And we automatically choose, I don't want to apply for this job.
Yeah.
And what if everyone thought that way and you could have been the few people that applied and actually went through the uncomfortableness to get that job? And now you're making that bank. Now you're like, okay, $2,000 luxury apartment with all these amenities. I got you. Oh, wait a minute. I want a condo. Hold on. What's up? Mm-hmm. I want a corner suite on the 7th floor of this place. Mm-hmm. And if I'm in Dallas, that's only $2,700.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, I got something to look forward to waking up tomorrow. And now I'm out of the cage. I'm flying as a bird. Like I could go higher. I could go higher and higher and higher.
Yeah. I think that's a testament to like how the humans have like the capacity to just keep expanding their territory, keep enlarging their coast. And the reason why I say that is because like going back to the whole like once you feel like you've reached a goal thing, unless you have like a bigger goal in mind, that might be where you lose your motivation. But the minute you're able to picture something bigger, grander, like you're not afraid to dream big and you're bold enough to do that, it just unleashes your potential so much. It's like you having small dreams is actually what's causing you to move so small.
Yeah, or not even move. You're just stuck. Like
you're stuck. Yeah.
Like if you're, what was that one movie? $1 Million Baby, the boxing one, right? Do you remember that one? I've seen it. All right, so the main protagonist, she's a fighter. She's making bank. She's like a rising star, and she like, hey, her family's poor, Section 8 housing and stuff like that in the story. And what she did was like, oh, now that I'm a top fighter, I'm making a lot of prize money. Hey, mom, I got you. I got you a house. Blah 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 blah. And you would assume that the family would be happy for that, but the family was like, this is gonna take away my monthly welfare. This is gonna take away my government checks and stuff like that. And in that storyline, it's like, wait, they're mad at her, the protagonist, for flying and getting more money to support the family and stuff, because they got caged. They put themselves in the cage of, no, we should be living in Section 8 housing. We should have welfare. And I'm like, this is not in spite of anyone who's on Section 8 or welfare. I'm from that background myself, right? And I've seen it firsthand where people got comfortable having that welfare check or having that lower rent because of Section 8. And I've seen it, and it's like, it's kind of demoralizing because I'm like, we could do so much more, but we're always focused on that small amount. And so that's our target instead of going for a higher amount. Now I want to flip this, right? So what's going on, you guys? I got to interrupt this episode because there's a lot of value that me and Sam are sharing. But the thing is, we don't have enough people leaving their reviews, letting us know how we could help them. So can you do me a favor? Spend 10 seconds, leave us a 5-star review, and review us. Tell us what value we're giving to you. I'm so amped up, I didn't even say that right, but you know what I mean. So take 10 seconds, do that for me real quick, and let's get back to the episode. What are tactical, practical things that we could do to stay disciplined so that we could look forward to waking up in the morning and going for that new goal?
Yeah, I think what we can do is, even if we don't have a sense of urgency, create one, right? There's a saying that necessity is the mother of invention or innovation, right? And Like, so, all right, for example, this is just an example for me of what I do. A lot of times when I make money, I will take it and I'll put it away in certain investment accounts that are in a completely different app that's completely outside of my own bank account. So when I look at my bank account, I don't see as much. That sounds like, all right, well, where are you going with it? Well, the reason why is because it's like it creates this sense in my mind of like, oh, continue to get after it, young man. You need to
earn more.
You need to earn more.
You don't got that much.
Exactly.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
psychological trick.
It's a psychological trick.
Yeah.
Right. But then if I check to see how I'm like, oh crap, like, well, all right, I'm doing all right. But by putting it like out of sight, out of mind is how we hear it. Putting out of sight anything that's comfortable, right? So that you don't actually feel comfortable. Making you feel like I gotta do more, I gotta break out of this box. I think that is something that allows for you to continue to strive, right? So creating that sense of urgency, that's one thing that I typically do. What about you?
I like to cut out people who are stagnant in their life. So social media, stuff like that, and the people I will DM or engage with or get on phone calls with, if I gravitate towards people who are talking about their wins, who are talking about their next goals, who are showing that they are accomplishing their goals, because that makes me uncomfortable if I'm not saying stuff like that myself. So Sam, if I see in the course of 2 months, every week for 8 weeks straight, you said, man, this was my target, I hit it, or I missed it by a little bit, but I'm gonna hit it next week. If I see that every single week for 8 weeks, and I'm just posting like, here's me eating a pizza. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, just talking about football, like, damn the refs, whatever. But I'm like, oh man, like, what am I doing? Because I want to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I'm not comparing myself towards your accomplishments. I'm comparing myself towards your actions.
Yep.
You are continuously going after a bigger goal or a new goal. Whereas I'm just sitting on the couch watching people play a game that have no relation to me. I say, this is my team. I spend 3 hours watching this game. I buy chicken wings and french fries and get fatter as I'm watching this game. What the hell am I doing? Like, it would make sense that I'm like, okay, this is when I get to relax because I stay disciplined towards all my other stuff. But if I'm not doing anything, what the hell am I doing? And I feel that it takes like a gut punch from someone on social media or a close friend for me to realize like, oh, dang, like, I could be doing that myself.
Yeah.
Right. So did you have someone where they kind of, maybe they didn't even like, yell at you or give you a gut punch, but from just seeing their actions, you're like, ooh, I got to level up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. While you were talking, I immediately thought of this one dude. I don't want to divulge his name, but he's in Navy. And while being in Navy, now I'm out. Y'all know I served and I'm out. But literally this dude, while being in, going through deployments and all this other stuff, every chance he gets, he learns more and more about the investing side of the house. This dude could tell you all types of stuff that I've never heard. He's dedicated himself so much to it that, again, I'm not going to say your name, but while serving, and y'all know military don't really get paid that much, but he's a millionaire right now.
I think I know who you're talking about.
No.
Oh, it's a different person.
Different person.
All right, so that shows we got multiple people.
This is a different person.
We got multiple connections who are.
No, this person's on active duty.
Oh, active duty.
Active
duty.
Okay. Yeah, this.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want to say your name while you're on active duty.
Yeah.
Once you get out, bro, we'll plug you.
Yeah, he's on active duty, and he actually, like, when I used to share like what I was doing, he used to talk to me like, bro, like, what are you doing, bro? You need to be doing it. Like, I had to have somebody pretty much give me a verbal punch in the face, like, bro, that's not it. You're slacking, bro. Like, this is it right here.
You know what's funny about that? Because that's how I got my aha moment. Like, I had someone, a mentor of mine, literally screaming through the phone, FaceTime, what do you want? What do you want? What the fuck are you doing? Are you lying to yourself?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, at first I was annoyed because I was like, bro, who the hell are you to judge me? Right? like, you know, the ego's coming up, and you're like, man, shut up.
Right.
Like, I'm paying you to help me, not talk smack. And then
that's it.
And then I was like, oh, damn, you like, I don't even know what I want. I can't answer your question. And when I couldn't answer it, I was like, that's the problem.
And that's the other thing too. A lot of people, when they're looking for advice, they're looking for the feel-good advice.
They're looking for feel-good advice, and they're looking for a savior.
And a savior. But what keeps you motivated, here's the other part about discipline and what motivates you to keep going, is when you realize that no one can save you but you. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't mean in a spiritual sense.
No, I 100% agree. No one is going to do the job for you. No one is going to get out of bed for you.
Yeah.
It's all on you.
Yeah. It's all on you. And, you know, that's where that whole, like, comfort thing, or like how you was bringing up the Section 8 thing, a lot of times when you feel like you have a savior or something like that, then you're less inclined to take action. But when you are in survival mode, that's what helps to transition you into thriving, because everything you're doing is like, yo, I'm counting on me. If I don't make this move, I'm done. And so, like, the guy yelling at you, that was actually what you needed, rather than, oh, you know what? You're on the right track. You'll be okay.
Absolutely.
Like, bro, I'm not paying you to make me feel good.
Like, it's weird. Like, I tell people, I respond more to confrontation and aggression and being called out than just soft rebuttals.
Yeah.
I respond more to that. Maybe, I don't know, it's a sports background or whatever, but that's what I respond to more. And that person recognized that, and it worked. And the other thing is, like, we're talking about tactics, essentially. We're talking about tactics. My tactic is being around people who are doing the work every single day and showing their wins and their successes, to remind us that we could do more. Your tactic was about the psychological trick of being in, like, oh, I need more, like removing excess out of your stuff so that you want to be, getting uncomfortable, purposely putting yourself uncomfortable, so that you want more. Now, the other tactic I want to say is just every week, or even every night, remind yourself, what the hell did you accomplish today? Recognize you have wins. Every night before I go to bed, or before I sleep, because I actually fill it out while I'm in bed. I have, all right, what are 5 things I'm thankful for today? Did I exercise? Did I eat in accordance with what I want to eat? That's good for me. What was my win today? Who did I speak with and actually have meaningful conversation today? And what did I learn? Every single day, it is on my phone, and I fill that out. And because I fill it out, I remind myself, damn, I did a lot. Mm-hmm. Or, like, when I say I'm grateful for, like, I'm grateful that I could talk, that I could walk, or it changes every day. Or, like, oh, I could learn. Or the fact that I could even speak to other people and motivate them. Those are wins. And because I do that every day, that's my discipline. That it reignites motivation in me for the next day.
Yeah, and I would say this too. Remember, because it's a hard thing for a lot of people to even understand, but just remember that difficulties are absolutely necessary, right? Everyone thinks that things should just be easy, but actually embracing the hard, embracing the difficult, understanding that is absolutely necessary. Like, not even nice to have. No, like, it's necessary. Only because it's you getting through the hard stuff that builds both your competence and your confidence. Because you know, hey, if I made it through this, I can actually make it through almost anything. And that propels you to walk, in victory. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree. And I just want to give, like, more of a visual example for other people. The hard stuff is you going to work out, lifting those weights. That's the hard stuff. But then once you go through the hard stuff, you just got stronger. Mm-hmm. You see proof that you got stronger. You like the way your body feels and looks. And now you do hard stuff again, because you're like, I want to stay strong. I want to look good all the time. I want to be even stronger.
Yeah.
And so that's the cycle. It's hard stuff, go work out. And then the wins is like, oh, I'm stronger. Mm-hmm. I look way better. I like the way I look in front of the mirror after the shower. Right? And then we're going to keep doing it again. And that's all I got. Do you want to add anything else?
That's all I got as well. honestly, embrace the hard stuff. Make sure that the way you stay disciplined is by setting larger goals. Dare to dream big. Like, this is not a motivational speech. This is just the keys to life. Big mind, you'll take big actions. Small mind, small actions, or you'll even be stagnant. So we need to stretch ourselves so that we can have an abundance of life, really. That's really the key. I know y'all got great value out of this content. Help us out by subscribing to this podcast. And until next time, Mindset Rebooted.
Sometimes when things go wrong, you can't blame life. Cause when you shot your shot, what was your aim like? What were you targeting? Cause if it ain't right, and you still go with it, then that is on you.